So I've been asked by several people to make my chia seed pudding. I attribute this recipe to really helping me stay on track with the keto diet. And so you start off with 4 cups of almond milk. Like any milk, you don't want to like boil this on the stove or anything. You just want to actually heat it up. Put it on like a medium to high heat. You don't want it to boil. All right, so now we're gonna add some cocoa. About 3 tablespoons to that. Heaping, of course, because who doesn't love cocoa? Probably works out to a lot more in tablespoons, but 3 heaping. And out of the recipe, if there's anything you want to subtract or add to try something different, go for it. I created this recipe after taking like a basic chia pudding recipe and then I just bulked it up. So that's 3 tablespoons of cocoa, about a tablespoon of cinnamon, half a cup of blueberries, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla. All right. Now this is about 3/4 of a cup of sweetener. You can use, this is stevia, you can use Swerve, that's really good. Stevia sometimes has a bit of an aftertaste afterwards, but I'm used to it. So that's about 3/4 of a cup, could be considered heaping as well. About 1.5 tablespoons of peanut butter, and you see I'm just using knives because they're easier to scrape off. You know, I've got written down about 1.5 tablespoons of peanut butter, but use your own judgment. You don't want too much, obviously. But this recipe is going to make you like over a week's worth of puddings, so you got to think there's a lot of carbs in the peanut butter, you know, like it'll spread out over those meals. So, but try to use a peanut butter that's got no sugar added. This is just unsweetened, just the nuts. All right, that puts us at chia seeds. So I use 6 ounces. I just take a shot glass. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And you know what? Half of a 1 for just a little bit of good luck. Now you just sort of whisk together. You want that peanut butter to just sort of melt and break down. Give this a couple of minutes, and before you know it, it's going to turn into chia pudding that you can serve right away nice and warm as a dessert, or as I have it, as breakfast. What I do is I make up this amount and I put it into jars, stick it in the fridge, have it all week long. So as you see, it's slowly starting to thicken up. We'll let that go, and while that's happening, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make some whipped cream. You can buy your whipping cream in the can at the store, but quite often there's carbs in those cans, so always be careful. This is just whipping cream I bought. It's 0 carbs, so I prefer to make my own. This is a cup of it. Pour it in. Got about a teaspoon of vanilla to that. Follow that up with a teaspoon of cinnamon and a little bit of sweetener. Probably about 2 tablespoons I've got written down, but I don't know. Every time I do this, it's a different amount. So just add what you feel for sweetener. Of course, I got a teaspoon here, so I'm just sort of maybe about 4 teaspoons. We'll try that and see how it tastes. All right. So I just paused the whipping cream for a second to give this a bit more of a stir, and I noticed it was bubbling, so I just want to lower that a bit. Make sure that it's like not like boiling here. We just want low to medium heat while that heats up. And you can see how thick it's gotten. It's almost ready, as well as the whipping cream. Perfect. You can see it's whipped and nice and stiff and firm. This will last you a couple days, and then this will last like a week. Look at that nice consistency. Nice and thick. This will continue to thicken up in the fridge. And when it's been in the fridge for a day or so, and you go to have some, all you have to do is, you scoop some out into a bowl and you add like a little bit of almond milk again to it, just to sort of loosen it up, and so that it's not so thick and becomes a pudding again, because it does thicken up quite a bit. Like, look at that. Perfect. Scoop a bit of this. Look at that. Right there. Now, I've got a couple of medium-sized strawberries that I've cut up with that. And so I'm just going to put that on top. Take a nice generous portion of whipping cream on there. And something else I've discovered is sugar-free diabetic maple syrup. And you just want to put a little bit of sparkle on there. And that is my breakfast, 7 days a week. Let me know how it works out for you. If you found something you'd like to add to it, or maybe take away from what I've put in, and it's worked out good, let me know. I'd love to hear about it. Now let's take a beauty shot of this.